The warp is a consequence of every living and thinking being in our galaxy. You see, we all have an energy of sorts. You can't see it, but it's outside of our physical realm, but it exists. Every thought that's made, every belief that's held, and every action taken, it all contributes towards the warp. It doesn't mirror us, though. It's not bound by flesh or bone. Instead, it flows like an ether or an ocean, but much less tranquil. For it's not the echoes of good deeds that the warp reflects. Furious, fearful, unforgiving. That is the true nature of our galaxy, and that is what the warp therefore represents. Such is the freedom of the warp that, if sufficient belief is held or deed done within our realm, the warp itself begins to manifest creatures that represent these passions. The warp can form teeth, claws, beasts, who will sustain themselves from the very fears or passions from which they were created. And when entire civilizations share a bulk of beliefs, be it worshipped, deities, demons, paranoias, gods may begin to even take shape or gain power. This is how chaos came to be. Yeah, we should be scared. Maybe now you don't believe in the warp. But it doesn't matter. Someday you'll be going there, whether you want to or not. Unless you plan on living forever, that is. You see, the warp is where you go when your soul dies, or when you die. Our soul, after all, it's just another piece of the ether. This is why we must follow the Emperor. We must be true to him. Do as he bids. For it is only he who can protect us. It is only he who can provide a beacon for the souls who have been faithful. For those who are not, a fate worse than death. Without him to protect you, you will be at the mercy of these creatures, and in a place where time has no or little meaning. What of chaos, you ask? What of chaos? Well, is this their home? Of sorts. Much of the warp is simply a terrain of anarchy that is a constantly sort of shifting and changing place based on the energies and currents expressed from us and our minds and all of these races around us. Every dream and every nightmare, every vision ever had by one of the galaxy's races, it's all represented here in the warp. Creatures of enough power, though, they can resist these changes. They can even create stable pockets within the warp, where they can hold dominion. The largest of these is where the 4 chaos gods reside, the realm of chaos. Fortunately for us, each of these mortal sins is locked in an eternal power struggle with each other, and they only see us as a means to gain more power. But each of these gods, though made from the same energy, they manifest in a form that embodies their own personality and the mortal passions that formed them. Khorne, Lord of Battle and Immortal Fury. Tzeentch, the Architect of Fate. Great Nurgle, the Lord of Decay, Mortal Fear, and the youngest of their number, Slaanesh, the Dark Prince of Pleasure. As long as these passions exist within our galaxy in sufficient quantity, there shall be gods of chaos. This is how they were born. This is how they shall remain. Only now, once created, they can seek to influence our realm as a means to further perpetuate their existence and strength. The influence of chaos, it takes many forms. In areas where the veil is thin between our realms, you might hear voices, experience nightmares, or even waking visions. Temperatures can plummet or fluctuate. You might feel a sense of wrongness that can't be described. These places can be permanent, or they can be temporary, and such is the way of the warp. The real threat from chaos, however, presents when these barriers are weakened by acts of worshippers, side effects of psychic activity, or great emanations of emotion or suffering. And this is when the veil can get weak enough, where the realm of the warp, the immaterium, It's able to break into our universe. We call this a warp rift. Some last moments, others days. Some even for centuries. These are where you will find the once mortal followers of chaos. And these places, my friend, this is where we're headed.